Hey, Mark Rodriguez here. You're watching America's number one cure for insomnia, the Diving Cutter Wrestling Podcast. And yes, we're now available on Spotify, on Samsung, on Amazon Music, and also the video version on LBRY and YouTube. And with me are
William White, a.k.a. Ninja Panda 1980.
Jack Knives from Jack Knives Reviews.
And Johnny Rodriguez.
All right, guys, it is a big episode. A lot of stuff that happened. And I mean, I'm sure most of you know why. So we're going to go over real quick with AEW All Out 2022 and the results and the comparisons, who we voted for, who actually won. But we're going to try to breeze through it because you'll see what happened. And there's lots of drama. We'll address it as each match gets there. There's a big media scrum we're going to talk about, the backlash of the media scrum, and then Dynamite, like what happened after, and then any other thoughts or rants we might let out about the whole situation as a whole. So let's kind of jump in and get started real quick. So with AEW All Out 2022, the first match we had for was it called the buy-in, or they're calling it now the 0 hour?
I think they're just calling it 0 hour for All Out.
Interesting. Okay, so oh wow, these things are not even in the order of when they occurred. Okay, so the first match, and it is kind of weird. It's going to be a little trend here because they crammed like 15 or so matches in one night, and a lot of matches kind of suffered because of that. So the first match we had Guevara and Tai from the Jericho Creation Society, which is, of course, the epitome of sports entertainers, going up against Ortiz and Ruby Soho. And right off the bat, like the minute the pay-per-view started, they're already fighting in the back. And like Ortiz and Ruby Soho are running Sammy over with the, golf cart type thing, a Jeep or whatever it is, because he gets hit by all kinds of vehicles and everything. They get beat up in the back. They go into the actual ring. Pretty short match. And my understanding is that Ruby Soho actually got her nose busted in real life. And I'm thinking maybe that's why they had to kind of rush it up, because she got her nose busted and everything. It was a match for the mixed tag team, for the mixed tag team AAA World Championship titles. And of course, Sammy and Tai did retain. And so yeah, any quick thoughts there, guys?
Yeah, it's starting to get to the point where AEW is starting to stand for almost everyone's wrecked, because there's been so many injuries along the way. And now Ruby Soho is going to be out for a little while with a broken nose, which is horrible. I mean, but still, overall, it was a good match. I do enjoy the fact that they went back with the old funny moniker of Sammy Guevara getting run over by the golf cart. I mean, it was hilarious back then. Still hilarious now. Always love getting always have fun seeing him getting ran over. But overall, it was an okay match. They did have to probably cut it short due to Ruby Soho's nose break. But the momentum was still there right up until that happened. So, fairly good match.
Now, I missed a part. Like, what happened? Did she take like a knee to the face? Like, exactly how did her nose break?
From my understanding, I think Ty Conti gave her a super kick, like right to the face, and it caught her right in the nose.
Yeah, I think she hit her. She was supposed to hit her in her chin, and then I guess her leg was too high up, so it busted her nose. And not to be mean, but Ruby has quite a predominant nose. So it was just like, one little Easter egg I did love as just a hardcore, Joshi fan. Both Ruby Soho and Santana were in full face paint makeup of, she had Bull Nakano's makeup, and he had Aja Kong's makeup, which was a huge, oh shoot, Bull Nakano, I'm like, okay, I get it. I mean, Aja Kong, I get it, but no one ever talks about Bull Nakano. And I was just like, oh, I love it. I was so happy. But yeah, I do think there was probably more spots they were planning on doing. But like I said, like Will said, they kind of cut it really, really short to the nail. But I mean, overall, it was just kind of it was quick. It was a quick start to the show, but it was a good quick start to the pre-show.
Okay, I thought it was Woody was going to chip in. Okay, so I think this match was pretty good. It's a good warm-up just to get people hyped up for the actual, pay-per-view whenever that's actually going to happen before all the other matches from the what's it called? It's not buy-in. What's it called
The
now?
0 hour.
0 hour.
0 hour, yeah. Which, in my opinion, I felt like there were a lot of matches for the 0 hour. I don't know if it was like that before, but this time around it did felt that way. And I still thought the match was very good. And I actually didn't even know nothing about the backstory of Ruby Soho with the injured nose. So, overall, I still like the match.
Yeah. So any quick thoughts, William? I think you covered. I'm not sure anything else you wanted to say.
I think I covered everything of what I had to say about the match. Like I said, it was a decent match, had pretty good momentum right up until the stopping point. But other than that, it was fun, very nostalgic with the face paint. I just realized the whole Bull Nakano thing. Yeah, it's a really good match.
So for that one, both me and Jack went for Ty and Sammy, and so we get the points, while Johnny and Panda went for Ruby and Ortiz. So, and I guess let's just say Ruby had a tough break there. Too soon? And yeah, hey, I love Ruby.
Just a bit.
Well, I mean, the match is kind of hard to call. It was a little on the nose, you know what I mean? So, okay, I'm done. But anyways, the next match we had here was Kip Sapien with his new look and everything. And I gotta say, it was a good look. I mean, he looked like a star coming in. That was the best intro he ever had, I believe, since an AEW. But anyways, Kip versus Pac singles match for the AEW All Atlantic Championship. Minus Hazy, I remember, it was a decent match. It was a good showing. Kip Sapien actually, gave Pac a bit of run for his money, but Pac won. He retained. And to keep with the weird storyline or whatever Kip is going for, he has the box that reminds me of Faust from Guilty Gear. When he lost him, well, first of all, this is the weirdest thing. He had Pac on the ropes, and instead of pinning him, he went to the box, like asking the box, what do I do? What do I do next or whatever? And then, I guess the box must have been trolling or some shit because it cost him the match. Pac beat him, he lost, and after Pac left, he's Kip is with the box. It's all your fault. It's all your fault. Like arguing with the fucking cardboard box. So I don't know about that one. That was pretty odd. But any thoughts, guys?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love Kip Sabian's new look, but the whole box gimmick is a little weird. To say the least. I don't know if he's going for like a mini Metal Gear thing or like is he gonna shake the box and like Snake's gonna come out? I don't know what's gonna happen there. But it's a really weird gimmick and I want to see where it leads, but not at the cost of him like turning into damn near a jobber. I really don't want to see that. But overall, it was a pretty good match. He actually kind of hung in there with Pac, which I gotta give him much credit for. I mean, not a lot of people can, hang with Pac's work ethic and live to tell the tale most of the time, even in professional wrestling. So I gotta hand it to him there. But overall, it was still a good match. Definitely enjoyed it.
My whole thing about it was it seems like they're going for the angle of this is kind of like a kind of like Willem Dafoe and the Green Goblin mask kind of thing. They're trying to go for that, but it's coming off more like Al Snow in Head, and
thank you.
That's not really. I know what they're going for, but they're not executing it properly. And the other problem with it is unless you follow like maybe Rev Pro. I think it's in Rev Pro, I guess, is like their whole feud. Unless you follow that, you have no idea what's going on. And I only knew about it because I read up on it that it's like, oh, well, he's been stalking him in Rev Pro. And then during, he's been in the front of the AEW Dark shows. I'm like, when have you ever addressed any of this? Like, we've seen Pac how many times, and this has never been addressed. And the problem is, if you're going to do storytelling like that, you can do it, but you have to kind of clue the regular audience in on what's going on, not just the hardcore audience. And I just don't think they're pulling it off right. As far as the match, though, I think Kip did a good job. I think Pac always can, he he's one of those guys who you can just rely on to pretty much do anything. And I don't understand why they don't put more of a big deal on how good he actually is. Like, I really am astounded that he's been in there from basically day one. And what was it? Just like a few months ago, he finally won a title. I'm like, really? You put a title on freaking Wardlow? No offense to Wardlow, but you put a title on Wardlow before Pac? Like, what's going on here? Because it's like you gotta focus on this stuff, But like I said, I thought it was a pretty decent match. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with Kip. I hope they elevate him more because they need more kind of broken angle characters, and they need to have hopefully characters that aren't just either cocky bad guys or crazy bad guys. They have to have a good balance between them. And they also need to focus more on good guys, but that's a whole other story.
Now, one thing is, after what you said, now, like, when Pac was down and Kip went, like, what do I do? What do I do? I cannot imagine the boxers like, go for the hearts, kid. Go for the hearts.
I'd imagine it having a really shitty Cockney accent. So it'd be like, go get him, Kip. You better go kick him. And everyone's just like, is he okay?
Oh, God. Your thoughts, Johnny?
Okay, give me 1 second because it takes me a while to get the screen changed up here. Okay, so what I thought of the match was it was very good. It was a good match, and Cape Sabian, it's good to see him back, and I like his new aesthetic, but the boxing is kind of weird. It's kind of like, I don't know, they could have did his new makeover thing, but you didn't have to do the box. Like, I don't know. It's just sometimes after a while, I know wrestling is supposed to be quote unquote fake and it's supposed to be for entertainment and all that stuff, but sometimes you just got to go a little bit more the serious route and just eliminate weird gimmicks like that. That's just my opinion on the whole thing. But other than that, in terms of the match, it was still a very good, decent match. And there were times that I actually wanted Kip Sabian to win because I thought he was actually doing a good job in this match.
Yeah. So this one was kind of a repeat of the last time. Once again, both me and Jack Knives went for Pac, while Johnny and William went for Kip. So I guess the box like steered all three of you wrong. You know what I mean? You can now yell at the box and say, it's all your fault, So me and Jack are tied 2 for 2, and you guys still got no points. But we'll continue here and see what happens. So the next one we got here was probably the most passionate and emotional match of the 0 hour. Like, this is a match to really get people like, holy shit, where's my wallet? Let me sign up for this shit. Let me get, pay for this pay-per-view. Is Tomohiro Ishii versus Eddie Kingston. And dude, they really like put everything in the ring. And the one thing I remember the most, because, long night and all that, is that they were basically turning their chest into hamburger. Like, I think Kingston's addicted to chops to the chest, because he always goes against the guys that are infamous for deadly chops like Suzuki and them, and he always goes to them like, yeah, come on, go ahead, come on, right here, come on, but yeah, they both like chopped the living absolute fuck out of each other, and it was a pretty intense match. And I forgot the details because again, it's been a long night and everything, but I remember that was the most intense match of them all. That was the best one. That was the real good one. Like, this is the match you put on to get people to buy the pay-per-view, which is pretty cool. And thoughts, amigos?
Yeah, that was definitely an intense match. That actually reminded me more of like New Japan Pro back in the day. I mean, those two are out there giving each other Cody Rhodes tattoos, if you know what I mean. But they were just going all out, and they left everything in the freaking ring. That's a damn good wrestling match. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was on a buy-in. I would have paid for that match. If they would have put that at the beginning of the show, I would have paid full money for that. Like, I would not have been mad at that. But even for a buy-in, that had to have been one of the most intense matches of the night, to be brutally honest with you. I mean, so hats off to those guys. I freaking loved it. That was a top-notch match.
This is actually technically, like I said, this is the second time they fought. The first time they fought was at a New Japan Strong show in, I think, actually, yeah, it was in your neck of the woods, your neck of the woods, Mark. It was in Philly. They did a show, and it was like the semi-main event, and I think they went for like, must have been like 26 minutes, and they just whooped the shit out of each other, like just nonstop. So like, imagine that extended for like 26 minutes of just fighting and punching. It's what there's a term that a lot of like some people in the Japanese forums, they call it the inoki handshakes when you get enough chops. Because if you followed like his old graduation ceremony, he would have all the young lions come in the ring and just like to all of them, and then it's like, oh, you graduate. Like that's how you graduate back in the day. But like, yeah, it's kind of crazy to see. I mean, that's the one thing I do. You know, you guys have if you followed the Diving Cutter podcast from the get-go, you know, I did not have very strong. That's okay. I did not have very strong, good thoughts about Eddie Kingston as a wrestler. However, over the past, I want to say 3 years, he has really, really changed my opinion. He's shown more respect. He's shown more intensity into the ring, and he actually has got his skills like down to a science. And I mean, I'm really happy he got to fight Ishii one more time. A lot of people don't know, but he's actually retiring this year from wrestling. He's been doing it for, I want to say a good 15, 16 years. But I guess like his knees are giving out. And so I allegedly he's going to be a trainer in New Japan Strong, which I hope is true. Because I'm like, I would love it if he would train like the new up and comers in New Japan, just to, you know, it's like come to the dojo forearm. But yeah, this was a great match, and as Will said, I think this honestly probably should have been on the main show, to be honest. But I mean, it's also a way to bring people in. I mean, it's just a great match. Anytime you get the Pitbull and you get Kingston in the ring together, you know, it's going to be magic regardless of how long they're in the ring for.
Yeah, this match was pretty good, and it was pretty intense. And just like what everybody else is saying, this I think should have actually been in the actual pay-per-view. Considering that this match was actually better than some of the highly anticipated fights in the actual pay-per-view. Some of them got cut short for, you know, injury reasons or whatever, but we'll get more into that later on during the show. But yeah, this was actually a very good, intense match, and I do agree with you, Jack Knives. I think Eddie Kingston actually have improved his fighting style, his fighting technique. I think he's actually really getting much more serious with all of this, you know. So yeah, I like this match. It was pretty awesome. And a little bit unexpected that Eddie Kingston actually won this match, you know.
Yeah. So that was the thing. So unfortunately for everyone except for Jack was the only one that went for Eddie Kingston. We all went for Tomohiro Ishii. And so there you go. So Jack's in the lead. Jack is just wrecking our shit here in the 0 hour, man. It's the 0 hour for Johnny mostly. For Johnny and Panda. Yeah, we had one more match there in the middle. We had Hook versus Angelo Parker with Matt Menard in the background. And I mean, to be fair, Angelo still kind of gave Hook a bit of a beating. It wasn't like as easy, but obviously Hook still demolished him. And then both Angelo Parker and Matt Menard jumped Hook afterwards because, you know, the whole JF stuff. But then, I forgot his name. The dude that trained Hook came up there. What was his name again? Bronson or something?
Oh yeah, no, that's not the guy who trained him. That's the guy who sings.
That's the rapper.
He sings his theme song.
Oh,
Action Bronson. Yeah.
Yeah. So he came in and scared the other two off, and it's all like, yo, want to start shit? You want to start? I'm not saying that, but you know what I mean. That paraphrase. You want to start shit? You know, come on. And they all left and whatever. So it's kind of cool to see them there. And of course, it was for the FTW Championship, but we still don't know what the hell it even stands for. And Hook is still the champ. So there you go.
I want to see, the one thing I will just say real quick is I can't be the only one. I want to see Hook pushed to his limits. Like, I actually want to see him fight like a threat. You know what I mean? Like, I actually want to see all the matches he's had so far have been less than maybe 6 minutes or less than 5. And, you know, it's cool for a while, but I think it's now at the point with just him and Wardlow, same thing, where they need to be pushed, like in a serious competitive sense. And I think it's finally time to pull the trigger on that. For me, as a fan, I want to see Hook, like someone test Hook's limits. Like, good example, I was even thinking about this. I think it would be cool to see, good example, Wardlow fight Kingston. That would be an interesting fight.
Oh, there we go.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. I would also like to see Hook versus, I don't know, maybe someone like Kyle O'Reilly. They both have technical abilities and they're both kind of slim. So it'd be like, you know, something like that. Like, not necessarily them, but as an example, I don't know, me personally, I just want to see them kind of like, because up to this point, it's been like, okay, we're trying to build you up some momentum to get you some wins. Now it's time to pull the trigger on getting you some good competitors to, you know, test to iron against iron kind of sense, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I totally agree with Jack Knives there. I mean, Hook and Wardlow are starting to turn into baby Goldbergs. It's just like come in, squash, leave. Like you don't really get to see how much they can do or what they would do in a potentially losing situation or a submission situation or, you know, something of that nature. So they need to actually put them up against somebody that can, you know, actually push them to their limits and make them show their actual wrestling talent. I totally agree with them on that. Otherwise, this was kind of a short match. To be brutally honest with you, until you brought it up, I barely remembered it. It just went by so fast.
Me too. I forgot all about it. That's why I skipped it because I really thought there were only 3 matches on the 0 hour. So good eye, Jack.
Like it was like watching a Mike Tyson match. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go back to the bathroom. You come back and the guy's already.
Wow, the show's starting. Let me turn on my. What happened? It's what I call a microwave match. It's a microwave match.
I remember that match of Goldberg versus what's his name, Lesnar, the first time, where it was literally just like two spears, jackhammer. That's it. And when it hit the first count, the 1, 2, 3, Paige was still there. Paige was joking. She was like, and it's over. And then 3, and they went, what? I was kidding. What the fuck? That's it. That's really
like
it.
That,
you know, like
it's like that South Park meme, and it's gone. Like it was like that. I'm like, okay, I guess it's over. All right.
That match went by so fast. Like they showed it on the commercial replay in its entirety, and it didn't miss a time slot. Like, how do you do
exactly?
Any thoughts, Johnny?
Yeah, the fight was very short. I mean, it was still a good match, and Hook is Hook, but kind of like pretty much like what everybody else have said, I think he needs to find an opponent that will really push his limits. A fight that's going to last longer than 3 minutes and 55 seconds. You know, he needs to have a match that will really show why Hook is Hook. Like, he's very talented. He's a very good wrestler. He has some good technique. He's very fast. He's very agile. He does all that thing, you know, that whole UFC type, you know, fighting style. But it would be very unique that he could actually fight an opponent that will really test his limits, you know, and actually see Hook get beat up a little bit. Like, okay, like he could still win the match, but still give him that chance that he could still get a kind of like a bad beating before he wins the match, so that we can see that he can still surpass, you know, challenges and still remain victor. Because I don't know, this whole like, yeah, it's kind of like what you guys said. I'm not going to repeat myself, but yeah, they just need to go with a better route with him, you know?
Yeah. So in this one, all of us got points. We all went for Hook. So, hey, everyone's got a point now. Everybody wins. There we go. Ooh. And, okay, so now for the actual pay-per-view, which was the casino ladder match, and whoever climbs in the ladder first gets a big old poker chip, gets a upcoming championship match, whenever, you know, for the AEW World title. And let me see if I can remember all these guys here. I'm not going to go for an exact order, but I think it starts out with 2 people, and every, 2 minutes, like the timer goes down and someone else comes in until eventually the mysterious Joker comes in, and we'll get there when we get there. So we've got, again, I don't know the exact order. We got Wheeler Yuta in there, Penta El Cero Miedo, Ray Phoenix, Claudio Castagnoli, Rush, Andrade, El Idolo, and Dante Martin. And, they all had a match there. The part I remember the most was when they put the ladders, and they put like one ladder in the middle there. And I'm kind of like, I forgot if they were even used that part later. I think the ladders didn't just flat out collapse or some bullshit. I don't know. There were a lot of spots though that kind of, I don't know, like there was only one guy in the ring at the time, and stop posing, stop making the face like, oh my God, I'm the only one here. I can just get your fucking ass up there and get it, So that was my only little complaint. I know they always do that sometimes, but it was kind of drawn out. So in the end, all these mysterious guys show up when it's time for the Joker to show up. These guys all in black and everything. And one of the dudes actually climbs up the ladder because, I think everyone was down. Climbs up the ladder, gets the chip, takes off his mask, and it's Stokely Hathaway and these other guys like Ethan Page. Yeah, I think Ethan Page, Lee Moriarty, Colton Gunn, Austin Gunn, and Morrissey, which, people know as Big Cass, now with long rocker hair, So they get the chip, but then like the actual Joker shows up, a dude with a new theme and a mysterious devil mask or whatever. He gets the chip officially. He's the winner. He's gonna like take off his mask, but he like stops and it's like, no, not yet. And he leaves and everything. So that's like the big mystery. Who the fuck is this guy? But, we all kind of knew. We all kind of got the hints. But yeah, And in fact, the biggest surprise at that point would have been if it was anyone but him. Because we knew it was him. You know what I mean? But, yeah. So any thoughts to me, those?
The one thing that I will say, like, at first I'm like, maybe it's more than likely him. But I was thinking if it wasn't him, I knew whoever it was going to be big, and this is the reason why. The song that came out was Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones. Now think about this. How much money did Tony Khan have to pay? He had to pay money to the Rolling Stones to use their music. That means it had to have been someone he was going to invest a lot of money. So whoever it was, I didn't know who it was, but I'm like, it's someone big. It's better be someone good. And then, I'm not going to say anything, but the other thing that I was watching this with my roommate, and he always points this out. I point this out. I call it Kota. I call it Ibushi. So short version, Kota Ibushi 2 years ago in the G1 Climax, he was fighting Okada. He showboated, and Kota Ibushi he's a heavyweight now. He's not a junior, but his moveset is similar to a junior. He decided as a heavyweight, I'm going to do a Phoenix Splash. Now, if you know a Phoenix Splash, it is not a move a heavyweight should use. And he did this move to showboat to the crowd against Okada. Okada moved out of the way. Kota literally dove straight onto his own elbow, and he has not wrestled since. And it's been over 2 years. He's damaged his ligaments completely just for showboating. So I call those showboat spots Ibushi. So what made me laugh was the Lucha Bros they Ibushi'd in this match, because like there was points where they had the chip. It was right there. And they go, and then they did the destroyer. I remember, Penta did the destroyer on Andrade, and he took the majority of the pain. Like Andrade just got barely the tip of his head. And but all the whole entirety was like right on Penta. And the same thing happened with Phoenix. Like he did like a somersault onto the ladder, and I'm like, you're hurting yourself. I know they're highlight clip moments, but it just always makes me laugh when I see them, because I'm like, the one other thing that threw me off about this match, so normally when they do the casino battle royal, it's usually like an over-the-top battle royal, so it makes sense for them to come out one at a time. Didn't make sense for it to be a ladder match to do that, if that makes any sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, well,
It's a
I mean,
ladder
for
match.
the chip, they gotta get the, they gotta
No, I
get
get
it.
that. I just didn't understand why like they each had to come out one at a time when it's a ladder match. Like, why don't you just run up now that there's only one person?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's up to two at least, but yeah.
No, I'm gonna wait till there's 6. That'll make it harder for me. Okay, whatever floats your boat, buddy. But other than that, I'm like, it was okay.
Yeah, that was just kind of a meh match, which is kind of bad to say considering it's a ladders match. When you get a meh on ladders, there's a problem. There's a huge problem. Now, given, that one botch that Spinto did with that Canadian Destroyer when he missed, definitely probably going to be on Botchamania sometime this week because it was painful, but damn, it was funny. But yeah, overall that match was just kind of eh. And then when the guys with the mask came up, it was like, okay, I had a guess on who it was, but just like you said, when Sympathy for the Devil started playing, I was like, they put some money into whoever this guy is. So yeah, I automatically started having the feeling it was who we thought it was. But I was just like, okay, let's just sit it out and see what's gonna go on there. But otherwise, right up until that happened, it was sad because it was the first ladder match that was actually a snooze fest. I'm just gonna call it right then and there.
Yeah, when I thought about this ladder match, correct me if I'm wrong, but haven't other previous ladder matches, haven't they just had all the wrestlers in the ring beating the shit out of each other all at once? Or was it always
that's usually how ladder matches go. It's usually like they're all in the ring. They usually come out one at a time, but like they all eventually start in the ring and it goes ding, ding, ding. That's generally how it works.
And typically the fight won't last long enough. So yeah, I think there was a little bit of a lackluster. The only thing that I remember the most is that Dean Martin was pretty much like Spider-Man because he kept basically jumping like flying to the ladder various times in the match, and that was kind of funny. And it was cool seeing the Lucha Brothers and Claudio Castagnoli. He didn't last as long as I thought he could have lasted in this match, but it was still an interesting match. It wasn't spectacular. It wasn't bad either, but it wasn't spectacular either. And honestly, of course, there's a lot of suspense on who the mystery guy is, who the Joker is, but I almost felt like they kind of rushed that up a little bit. Like the match was kind of going sort of good, and then all of a sudden, all these people in the sky start showing up in the match, and they start beating people up. And I just felt like, man, they just like rushed it up a little too fast in that aspect.
Yeah, what usually happens is when the Joker comes out, the Joker still, wrestles and fights and stuff. Here, the Joker just showed up all like, everyone
it was
coming
weird.
down.
The Joker came out super in the
give me a
last minute, like after the other guys beat the people up. Like, I don't know. That was kind of, it's like there was potential this match, but it was kind of poorly executed. And, the fact that people could kind of more or less guess who the Joker is anyways, it's kind of like, I don't know.
Well, look at it this way, Johnny. Like they say, work smarter, not harder, right? So he just came right in, come to Papa.
And then seeing who the Joker actually is, eventually we're going to reveal who it is. It actually makes sense because I think he would do things that way.
Yeah.
And I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, so I'm not going to spoil it here till we get there, but I was the only one who predicted that individual. I'm the only one that got the point. I believe, let me see here just real quick.
I think
Donnie went for Roosh, Jack
I
went for Roosh, yep, and Panda went for Wheeler, Utah. So there you go. So let me see what's next. So next match we had here, let me see here, is the tournament final for the inaugural AEW World Trios Championship. And oh boy, awkward. We'll get into that when we get into that though. But yeah, it was a match between the Dark Order, which in this case had Alex Reynolds and John Silver with Adam Page as their third guy, going up against the Elite, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. And yes, we know we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, pretty decent match. As usual, lots of flippy shit. And again, lots of more stuff happened in the night. So I can't remember any spots except, of course, lots of super kicks all around. Like I always say, though, Silver always does a very good job for the Dark Order. People love him. And I really felt like they should have just won. They should have just won. The Dark Order's been around for a long time. They should have had something. They needed the title more, because the Young Bucks already, yeah, Omega had the title, for the whole year or so. Multiple titles, actually. The Young Bucks were tag team champs twice and stuff. So they don't need more titles. Like, give it to, even though Hangman is kind of there too, he was champ too, but the Dark Order, the Dark Order, it's not Hangman. It's kind of like the Dark Order. That would have worked. That would have been cool. And again, I know people like Cornette, the Dark Order, but love them or hate them, when they come in, especially Silver, they pop. They've got big pop during the match. Every time Silver comes in and starts doing Topiso Zitas on his shit, he gets the love. But unfortunately, the Elite One, they're the champs. And we'll go into that later. About their reign, but what do you guys think of the match?
I think the only spot I really remember was there's a spot where Hangman did the buckshot, and then I think someone collapsed. I think he was going to do it. Yeah, he was going to do the buckshot to Matt, and then Matt collapsed, and then he turns around, and then Nick had done it to him. That was like the only spot I really remember. There's only a couple spots I really remember, but I think that it should have gone to the Dark Order personally, just because, as Mark said, they haven't done anything at all with them since. No, actually, even before Brody Lee passed away, they haven't done anything with them. It's kind of crazy. I'm like, wow, yeah. Also, it would have made more sense as a transitional and a more credible thing if they had won, because Hangman is a former champion. So it would have actually made more of a transition to go like, oh, well, he doesn't need to worry about being the top guy anymore because now he can work on helping this faction. You know what I mean? It would have made more of a reasonable transition for the fans. The Bucks don't need anything ever for anything. They're the kind of people that would show up at a buffet line and be like, well, I'm first. So they don't need any more things. I'm glad Kenny's better. I think he's still injured, though. But I'm glad he's doing better. But it was an all right match. There's not really much to write home about it, honestly. I was just kind of like, I honestly thought the match with the United Empire and the Elite was way better than this one. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, this match was actually kind of dull. Well, let's face it. As soon as the Young Bucks went in, I was just like, oh, hey, time for a bathroom break. Went ahead and dipped out for a little while. I'm not even gonna talk about the highlights of the match because I seriously don't remember them. I legit skipped this match. I intentionally went to go grab something to eat, sat down in the next room, and waited for it to be over because I knew what was going to happen. Why not just go ahead and give it to Paige in the Dark Order? It would make more sense for them to have it. It's tired. They've been dragging on too long with a title, and it's literally the case of the dog chasing the car. You got the car. What the hell are you going to do with it? They haven't done anything with it. Nothing. It's just been sitting on somebody's case collecting dust like a bunch of anime collectibles. So, I don't know. I totally skipped the match. Wasn't even worth it to me, to be honest with you. I'm glad Kenny's back. Don't get me wrong. Well, he was back, but yeah, otherwise, I could have done without it.
Yep, we'll get there. Johnny?
Yeah, honestly, I don't remember too much about the match either too much. And yeah, I'm glad that Kenny Omega's back. And although I think he was so injured, but he still did good enough to win the match. And the thing that it's kind of conflicting because I do kind of like Kenny Omega as much as as annoying as he can be at times. I still like the way he wrestles and all that stuff, but I don't know. The Young Bucks, they gotta go. I'm just tired of them. The fact that they won this match, it's like, why did they even have to win this match? Like with the time, like I actually thought the match was kind of like from what I remember, the match was still very intense, and they were going back and forth and all this kind of stuff. But once the victory remained that, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega won the match. Well, more like on the Young Bucks side of the match. I'm like, whatever. Like, I don't know.
I think to all of us, it kind of felt like I said, the Elite don't need anything more as far as those trio. And it was kind of like a manager giving himself a raise. It's like, why? Like, do you really need one? No, but you're going to get one.
I'm going to give myself a promotion. And gets pins the needle. That basically it. The Young Bucks.
But how badly do I want it?
They're basically like Dr. Robotnik, just giving himself a promotion, just pin the medal on him, But anyways, can you do a Robotnik impression, Jack Knives? You seem to be good at voices.
Which version of Robotnik are we talking? I'm trying to remember.
Avengers Aside the Hedgehog version with the promotion with the medal.
Oh, I'm giving myself a promotion. Like that. I can also do the Saturday morning one where he sounds like a creeper.
Yeah.
And he's all like, oh, that's good. Yes. Like that one. Yeah.
If I ever get to meet him, I really want to be like, watch something like, like watch the Diving Cutter Wrestling podcast. It's very good indeed. Something like that, But anyways, in this one, Jack won because he was the only one to win for the Elites, because you know how it is. Sometimes we don't go for who we want to win. We kind of try to go for who we think is going to win regardless. And all of us went for the Dark Order. So, well, them's the breaks. But, hey, more stuff happened after that. Anyways, the next match we had here, a singles match for the AEW TBS Championship with Jade Cargill, which was cosplaying as She-Hulk because, hey, it's going on now. And, of course, we got Kiera Hogan and Layla Gray there. And we got Athena as a challenger. And a pretty short match. It was like about 4 minutes, 20 seconds match. And I don't know. I kind of felt Athena could have done better. There were a bit of botches here and there. And I was really expecting a lot more from Athena because she's, she's good and everything. I saw her as the one to take off the belt from Jade because, she's got to lose sometime. But another thing is when I saw her cosplaying as Jade, as She-Hulk, I was like, yeah, she's not going to lose. They're not going to make her cosplay as a character that has an ongoing show now and then make that be her match where she drops a title. I don't think so. If she was cosplaying as some other, legacy character, whatever, maybe. But, to tie it in with the show, I don't know. And, again, it's the big question, if not Athena, then who? The only one I'm thinking is possibly Chris Statlander whenever she comes back, maybe. But because Toni Storm is a good one, but she's going after the other title, right? So But yeah, that was the match. It was pretty, and it kind of sucks because I was really looking forward to it. I wanted Athena to really put Jade through her paces. I wanted to do it where she wiped the arrogant smile off her face, where at the beginning of the match, Jade's kind of like, yeah, I see you there. But then after the match goes on, oh, you fucking bitch. Oh, you're going to get it now. That kind of shit. Really build it up. But, But Jade retains. Victory number 37 or something, I think.
Well, this was another questionably short women's match. It's getting ridiculous. The women's division, they do okay with the women's division as far as AEW, but this is probably the worst viewing of it that they've possibly done. It's a 4-way match, and it only lasted 4 minutes, 4 to 6 minutes.
No. This is the TBS title.
Oh.
This is the Cargill Athena.
Oh, the Cargill match. Okay, I'm sorry. I had a complete total brain fart. Hey, excuse me. But okay, as far as the Cargill match, I don't remember any major spots to it, but I do remember she was dressed as She-Hulk, which pretty much was the writing on the wall that, yeah, she was gonna retain that title. Like, that was gonna happen. And again, it's kind of like the same situation with Hook. They need to find somebody that's gonna put her through her paces. Thought Athena was gonna do it, but oddly enough, no. Like, that wasn't it. It's like, who can they find that's going to be tougher than Jade Cargill? Is it, like, are they going to put, like, some sort of special guest wrestler or somebody in there somewhere at some
Well,
point?
yeah, but then the special guest is going to have to defend the title. You know what I mean? Do you have to sign or something?
Yeah, that's true.
I could think of
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I could think of a couple women, but none of them that would none of them that are in the company right now. But it's like, yeah, it's exactly what you said, Will. There's
Yeah, for example, I don't know, due to her size, I don't know. Let's say Maki Ito. I know she's not officially signed, but she does cameo. But if she wins, now she's going to have to appear on, at least 2 or 3 more pay-per-views until she loses or whatever. But
like, good example, off the top of my head, Jordan Grace. She's the current Impact Knockouts champion. Deonna Purrazzo, she could whoop her ass. I know she could make her tap out. I would say Thunder Rosa, but she's out. There's a couple women I could see. What I don't understand is since she's so red hot right now, why didn't Britt Baker go after her? Because she's so popular right now. So wouldn't it make more sense for her? I know she's a villain, but like different kind of villain. Like, it's kind of like the old saying goes, how do you take down a villain with a bigger villain with another villain? It's kind of like that old saying. So I think it would be kind of cool to do that. But as far as the match itself, it was just a wet fart. I was so looking forward to this match because I love Athena. I wanted her to win because I'm like, I remember when she debuted at Double or Nothing. I was like, oh shit, it's Athena. Because I recognized, as soon as it said Fallen Goddess, I'm like, I know exactly who that is. And I was like, okay, well, this is going to be the person to beat Jade. And it just felt like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know if it's Athena's off or if Jade is just so stiff to work with. I don't know what it is. It was just.
Yeah, because Athena's introduction, it literally looked like, this is the one that's going to take down Jade, Yeah. And it was an ongoing thing for months. She was the only one that scared Jade off. She's the only one that could take down the baddies and all that stuff. And it all led to this. And
then nothing. And like, even if she was dressed as She-Hulk, which, side note, better than the actual series. But that's not the point.
We're not getting there. There's some very violent cross.
Not getting into that. But regardless of that, I really did think Athena, she just has better skills. She has better ring presence. She's better on the mic. Because what is it? Jade just has 2 catchphrases. That's it. Like, she just and then walks away. Yeah. And then it's
if she ever wrestles Tony Schiavone, she can tell him cut the shit.
And it's just it's like, to me, it's like if your entire, I will say on a random note, if your entire presence is just to insult the commentator can't fight back. It's like picking a fight with the ref. The ref's not gonna fight you. It'd be like say Switchblade Jay White, and he gets all up in the face of the ref. He's like, I challenge you to a fight. And they're like, it'd be like that. It's like that. That's what I feel like with this. But with Athena, it's like she doesn't really. I wanted her to win because she was the only one. Like I said, like Mark said, she was the one, and then they just didn't give it. They didn't. I don't know if they're going to do anything more with her because now I'm like, what is she there for now?
Well, I mean,
if Athena joins the baddies, no, you were the chosen one. You weren't supposed to join them.
Yeah, exactly.
But like you said, there are also, other people. There's Jordan Grace, who, her husband's in Ring of Honor, so that would be a good opportunity to bring her in. Or better yet, if she wants to do the She-Hulk thing, let's go with an Abomination character. Put in Max the Impaler and let her run her over.
Oh, yeah. Max the Impaler would be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I love her gimmick though. I don't know how often she plays it up, but the last time she was on NWA, she really played up like this, I don't know, this savage gimmick that doesn't know about modern stuff. He got into the interviewer space and started grabbing his I guess had a handkerchief and like what is this? And
she
having
had
the mic
now she's got this whole gimmick with Father Mitchell is her manager, and I'm like, I love it.
Yeah.
And like that match she had at the 74th anniversary of NWA, she had against on night one she fought Camille, and it was a really good match.
Yeah, she's amazing. Or they're amazing, I should say.
Have Camille beat Jade. Oh man.
The Brick House.
The Brick House. Oh man, the unbeaten queen. Yes. Or have even Genocide. Genocide would be cool too.
Yeah.
Like there's so many women I'm like off the top of my head, even Chelsea Green. I'd be fine with Chelsea Green. Or Tennille Dashwood. There's so many other women. I'm like, wait a minute. I know they're signed to other companies, but come on, man. I mean, if you have open door policy as AEW does with AAA, I don't understand why they can't just do that with some of the women.
Well, I mean, Max the Impaler's got a better chance because they've been on Dark.
See,
so like that's a good chance to get her foot in the door and actually put her in the spotlight.
What about Abaddon? Is she still around?
Maybe a couple of months back or something. I don't know.
I'm just saying. I'm like someone, just anyone.
I don't know. She's probably lurking in some dark corner with Danhausen. We don't know where they are.
Yeah, they kind of keep Abaddon down though. They don't they need to build her up or something to kind of make it believable, I guess. Although I do want to see just Jade how she will respond to her, but
or have like a major underdog. Have that girl that you like, Mark, something Sky, whatever her name is.
Brooke Sky. No, Sky Blue.
Sky Blue. Yeah, have her beat Jade. No one see that shit coming.
I mean, she runs circles around Nyla Rose. I mean, she's like a big headache to Nyla Rose and everything.
Yeah.
So,
what about Nyla Rose? Where's Nyla Rose been?
She's on Dark every whenever, but they just she's on Dark every week, but they don't put her on TV, and I always hate that because Vicky's got this heel faction, which is usually Nyla Rose and what's her name, Marina Shafir and Diamante and all that. It's like, just put that on TV, don't just have them on Dark all the time, put them on TV.
Nyla Rose was literally the starting member of her faction, so I mean,
it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Anyway,
thoughts, Johnny?
Yeah, I thought like this match felt really short because there was such a good promo with this fight, a lot of anticipation for this fight. Pardon me, I'm like all over the place right now. But anyways, this fight seems like it had good potential, and then when the actual fight happened, it's like 1, 2, 3, Jade Cargill wins, and it's like, what the hell did Adina did in this match? And Adina does look like a very good, talented wrestler. I saw a lot of potential in Adina. She looked like the person that could have actually been Jade Cargill. And now, let's just, get the title back to Jade Cargill as usual, business as usual.
So for this one, Johnny and Panda, I don't know, you guys really agreed a lot last time. You're both back in the running because you both went for Jade, and me and, Jack and myself, we went for Athena. So, oh well. I guess the goddess really did fall, huh? So, yeah, we're cheesy. Okay, so next one we have was a 6-man tag team match, which is a very cool match here. We had Jay Lethal with the Motor City Machine Guns, holy crap, Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley. Of course, we got to see a bit of them during the spectacular Ric Flair's last match. And they also had, they were going up against FTR, which of course are Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood that can finally tell apart now, thankfully, with Wardlow on their side. And yeah, it's a pretty good match. The Motor City Machine Guns had a good showing. I don't remember Lethal doing terribly too much. I know he was trying to go for a lethal injection once or twice or whatever, but the Motor City Machine Guns, they're like the guests, I should say. So they had, more showtime. And of course, Cash showing, no, Dax, I think. Dax showing, the heart he has. He can take a beating and keep fighting no matter what. And of course, when our Wardlow stepped up, it's just throwing guys everywhere, all over the place, and power bombs and all that. But yeah, decent match. Actually a good one. It was like 16 or so minutes. So that one was a decently sized match. And in the end, FTR and Wardlow won. Pretty good. Any thoughts, amigos?
Yeah, that was a pretty decent match. I do got to give them credit. They did let even though they lost, the Motor City Machine Guns did get a good chance to kind of shine and show a little bit more of what they could do. Jay Lethal just kind of, he attempted a lethal injection here and there, but otherwise he just kind of, stood back and just kind of let them kind of highlight themselves. Now, basically, it was kind of funny because, like, when Wardlow walked in, it was funny because it seemed like almost like scene from the Avengers where the Hulk's just kind of like wading through all the bad guys and they're all flying around in the air. That's what it kind of reminded me of. Like, it was actually really kind of funny. But, yeah, it was actually a pretty solid match. Had a lot of good timing to it. I actually like the match. Thumbs up.
I was kind of hoping the Machine Guns would win solely because I wanted to see FTR fight the Machine Guns for a title match. That's really what my whole thought process was, because it's like, even if they were to pin Wardlow, like say like Lethal and the Machine Guns all, triple teamed him, and then like all three piled on him and pinned him and be like, hey, da, da, da. And then Lethal could be like, well, I pinned you, and then they could go, hey, we beat you, so we get a title shot. Something like that. That's what I was thinking. That was my thought process. But, it was just another generic match where it's kind of like FTR are calling themselves the greatest tag team on the planet. They have 3 separate tag team titles and yet have never defended any of them. They haven't defended any of them in the past 4 months. I'm like, how do you have 3 separate tag belts and haven't defended any of them in 4 months?
Rob Lesnar tipping his hat, yo.
That's true. But it's like, but I'm like, good example. Like, I think, there's going to be a show in New Japan called Royal Quest 2, which is a big thing everyone's looking at for another reason. But I guess they're going to be defending their IWGP belts there. I don't know against who yet.
Well, that's something at least.
Yeah. And then, like I said, with Wardlow, you have 3 separate belt holders in AEW, and none of their belts are on the line. Like, I know it wouldn't have mattered, but if they go all of them, like all of the belts on the line, then you could have been like, there's more intrigue to the match. I'm not saying, they would have won, but I'm just saying it would have been interesting. It would have been more intriguing. It was kind of just obviously you have the Motor City Machine Guns, who are probably one of the greatest tag teams like ever. You had Jay Lethal, also one of the best. And you had FTR, one of the greatest tag teams now in the current age. And Wardlow was there too. Sorry. I had to throw that one in there. Wardlow's not bad, but he's not great either. He's just kind of there. Like, he's insert dominant big guy here. Like, that's pretty much how I see Wardlow. Except he has a man bun. So other than that,
he has yet to prove himself worthy.
Exactly. I want to see that happen. I want to see him get, tested. FTR, I want to see them, put their belts on the line. I want to see them go like week to week to week. Like, let's say 1 week AAA, 1 week IWGP, 1 week Ring of Honor, and then just do that like as a twice over. And then be like, we defended it here, we defended it here. Something like that. That would be cool.
I remember one last thing, though, about that match. When it started out and they came in, I believe Jay Lethal came with his cronies, and one of them had like a shirt that was teasing the whole fight like an 8-year-old girl, like insulting Dash's daughter.
It was
So-
Sanjay Dutt. It said he had, because they had a shirt that says "fight like an 8-year-old girl," and he scratched out the word "girl" and wrote "brat."
Oh, so in the end, like after the actual match ended proper, she came in and she did the most vicious pencil break ever, you know. And then like, you know, didn't she like stand on him for the pin or some shit like that?
Yeah, I forgot who. They hit him, and then she did. She stood on him and pinned, and then the ref pinned. And I was like, oh, that's cute, but it's also like, please don't make this a -1 situation again, please.
Yeah, don't do it like here's Braun Strowman. I'm not finished with you, but here I'm going to tag team chat with this kid here. Hey,
It's like,
I'm
look,
like,
I understand integrating.
you know.
I understand integrating kids into wrestling, but that doesn't mean to integrate them in wrestling. There's a huge difference.
Yeah.
That's all I ask, please. You can have the kids watch. You could have some participation, but you can't have the kids in the wrestling. To me, that's I kind of fall in a little bit of the Cornette category. Just a little.
I mean,
bit,
could have been worse. He could have did like a punch or whatever, and the guy could have like thrown back as if he was like decked or some
like she did. She does like a forearm. It's boom, boom. Yeah, it's like, no.
Yeah, like the Shawn Michaels Hogan match, you know.
Like gives
Exactly.
a shot Michael Cell.
Yeah, it does a full like backflip outside the ring. Yeah, something like that. I'm like, no.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, I don't remember too much about the match. But you know, the Motor City Machine Guns, they're pretty good wrestlers, and you know, FTR, they're like the, you know, quote unquote best tag team thing going on, you know, their theme. It was a fun, exciting match. It was nothing. I don't consider it nothing out of the ordinary for the FTR, you know, gimmick or whatever. And yeah, it was still a good match. It was a good, decent, intense match. I just don't really remember too much about the match, to be honest.
Yeah. So for that one, Johnny and I went for Wardlow. Me and Japan also went for Wardlow, and I guess Jack was the only one that went with Jay Lethal and those big bullies that pick on 8-year-old girls. You know what I mean? Oh man. So yeah, now it's starting to get a bit more even, you know. So anyways, next match we had here is another one of those I almost forgot this happened kind of match. Powerhouse Hobbs versus Ricky Starks singles match. Ricky Starks had a match against Hook that he lost, and when he gave some kind of like, I don't know, sore loser speech, Hobbs just hit him from behind, and I'm sick of your shit, I'm sick of you, whatever. So this is supposed to be like the big, you know, grudge match, which Powerhouse Hobbs kind of makes sense because his size, you know, he just demolished Ricky Starks, barely any offense. It was basically a squash, and, you know, that's all she wrote, basically. No real thought there. That was another match of those that you go to the bathroom, you come back, hey, whoa, it's already done, what? You know, it was just real short.
Yeah, that was another quick squash match, or as I'm going to start taking it from Jack, a microwave match, because it was so darn short. It's just like, why are you here? All right, let's call it a day. That's all I remember. It's just like he walked in, beat the snot out of him, walked out. Like there's nothing more to say about that match. It was just short, and it was just a squash. I was honestly worried that, you know, maybe somebody got injured and they had to improvise the match for something.
Oh, we'll get there.
I'm starting to think that Mark should implement a squash counter at this point. What is this, like the 5th match that's had a squash?
Yeah, now it's kind of like, you know, before they were saying like, what the hell, 15 matches, this is going to be like a fucking 5-hour event. But it's like, okay, now it makes sense how all these matches are fitting in.
Or you could just have 10 really good matches.
Yeah, but you know,
there's a thought.
Like Tony's like, whoa, yeah, I'm a billionaire, bitch. I'm this one 15 in that. Oh man.
I mean, a wrestling match should not be considered an intermission. It just shouldn't happen. But
we need time for them to go buy shirts.
There you go. That pro wrestling tease money, yo. Any thoughts? Yeah.
My here's what makes me irritated is I'll bring this up a little later, but this whole match, like I don't know, maybe it's just me. I could not pretend to give a shit. Like I couldn't even try. I couldn't even try because how many months and months and months did we have to hear Ricky Starks talk? Did we have to hear Hobbs calling out people, losing, calling out people, losing, and then they eventually had to turn on each other. And I'm just like, I didn't give a crap about you before. And then like they're doing this whole thing is like, oh, well, he betrayed his friend Ricky. I'm like, I don't care. Like I didn't like you guys before. It's like someone saying, man, this ultimate villain, can you believe his henchman betrayed him? I'm like, and? Oh no. Like that's me. I'm like, okay, I couldn't pretend to give a shit. The only member of Team Taz, there's only 2 members of Team Taz that actually matter to me. Brian Cage, who's now in Ring of Honor limbo, and Hook, who's doing better than all of them. I just don't seem to care. But they invested more time in this feud and in this match than another match they should have had longer, should have invested more, and should have done more with. But I'll get to that when I get to that.
My bad. Okay, so this match was very short, very predictable. I think most of us voted for Powerhouse Hubs. We didn't really see Ricky Starks, like, was he going to do much in the ring, you know? Size difference and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, I don't feel like this match was pay-per-view worthy. Like, I don't even know why they wasted time with this match. They could have just put this in a regular, I don't know, AEW, TV broadcast. It didn't have to be a pay-per-view match. They didn't have to put all this thing to make people wait for this match to happen. Then when it happens, oh, Powerhouse Hub won the match. What, in 5 minutes? Like I don't know. It's just like whatever.
Yeah, this could have been on Rampage, to be honest. So all 4 of us went for Powerhouse Hobbs. I got with Jack later on. And he told me he also went for Hobbs. So we all went for Hobbs. So there you go. So we all get a point. Again, it's getting more and more even now. And yeah. So let me see here. The next match was surprisingly the match of the night. Many people are saying the match of the night. We'll see if anyone, whatever. But yeah, Swerve in Our Glory, Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland putting the titles on the line, the AEW World Tag Team titles against Anthony Bowens and Matt Caster, the Acclaimed, with Billy Gunn in the background. And what can I say? The match was crazy. It was pretty intense. I'm surprised that, well, first of all, I believe they were supposed to be like the basis, Swerve, but once they kind of picked up on the energy that the crowd was really going for the Acclaim, they started doing a bit of, dirty tactics here and there, mostly a Swerve. The Swerve seems like a natural heel, and yeah, the crowd was even singing about, scissor me daddy ass and all that stuff. They really love that scissoring stuff right there. The kids nowadays always, loving that. But anyways, it's just crazy. It was the crowd was super hot for them, and in the end, I kind of understand because hey, Swerve and Keith, they just won the titles and all that. It's probably too super to drop them, but the thing is, the crowd was so fucking hot that everyone kept saying that the only way to make the crowd like the match, like the perfect match, would have been if the Acclaimed won. I know I'm seeing you shaking your head there, but that's the consensus. A lot of people loved it, and for me, that I don't really care about the Acclaimed, especially with the whole listen, I'm always like, listen to this, But when like this match made me care. This match was like, holy shit, and the close calls and just the action of it all. I was like, damn, like I really, part of me really wanted him to win. I was really surprised. The crowd ate it up like fucking hell, you know what I mean? But damn, and like I said, even Swerve and Keith realized it. It's like, yo, we gotta switch this up to, we gotta be like the heels in this because they're like really, eating it up. But thoughts, amigos?
Yeah, it was an okay match. Now I'm just gonna say it. Screw it. I hate the Acclaim. I hate them. I hate them.
Thank you.
They just make my brain. I have an aneurysm every time they come out. Especially the whole scissor thing. I'm like, oh God, kill me. But they did show that they do have some wrestling talent in this match. Swerve and Keith Lee were actually the heels in this, which kind of surprised me that the fans kind of turncoated on them. And not to mention, why isn't Keith Lee doing having more of a solo wrestling career? Because I'm sorry, he's much better as a solo wrestler than he is a tag. Given he's good as a tag, but he's much better as a solo. But all in all, it was an match. It would have been a lot better if the opponents, i.e. the Acclaim, didn't show. That's just me.
Oh wow.
So I agree. I cannot stand the Acclaim. I think they are so irritating. Like, I agree with what Keith Lee said on Rampage leading up to this fight. He literally said, enough jokes, enough talk. When push comes to shove, you can't beat us. You need to be better in the ring. And he said, enough playing stereotypes. And to be honest, they are. I'm not sorry to say that, but they are. They are stereotypes. They just come out, they rap, they do the scissor me thing, which, by the way, I can't stand that. And people are equating that to the DX thing. Okay, as someone who grew up in the 90s and grew up during the DX era, we did the whole suck it thing. They weren't telling people to tell everyone to go fuck themselves. It's not what they were doing. They weren't but seeing little kids going, see me, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what the hell? It's so gross. And then the chant, to be honest, the thing that ruined the match for me, it would, as far as in-ring ability, was fantastic as a tag team. It was the best tag team match of the night. I will give it that for sure. But I don't consider it the best match of the night solely because the crowd beyond took me out of it. Like, they kept going, scissor me, and then they go, you can't scissor. And then stupid chants like that. Or they were booing spots of Keith Lee and Swerve doing, and then they were cheering the Acclaim, basically just going, they weren't doing anything. And I'm like, are you brain damaged? I know you're in Chicago, but come on.
No.
Boom. Anyway, but it didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, why are you, is it because they don't have a gimmick? Is that what it is? I thought the whole, wasn't Swerve's gimmick the whole whose house, Swerve's house?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it made more sense if they were going if half the crowd was like, whose house, scissor me? Whose house, scissor me? Something stupid like that.
Who's getting scissored in whose house?
Who's doing what with what scissors? No. But then at the end, the ultimate slap in the face was Lee going up to Billy Gunn like that, and then Billy Gunn doing that, and the crowd still booing. And going, don't do it. I'm like, wait, do you not want him to do it, or you don't even know what you want in your gimmick? Damn it! It'd be like if Jay White came out and he did that to someone he had just wrestled, and the crowd goes, no, too sweet. Yeah, I'm like, but you fucker said too sweet 6 billion times during the match. Right. You don't even know what you want.
I'm sorry.
Like someone getting a t-shirt. It's like someone getting a t-shirt cannon shot, and then they get a free shirt. No, I'm like, you know. They're like, give me a shirt. They throw it. No. I'm like, wait, what do you want? God. But as far as the match, in skill, in ring, fantastic, and I 100% agree with Will. And I think both Lee and Strickland are so good as wrestlers on their own. They could have solo runs, and they should have solo runs, especially. Now I think about it honestly, Lee should go after Wardlow. Lee should take the title from Wardlow. I think Lee could elevate that title way more than Wardlow, personally.
Oh, yeah.
But that's a whole other story. But I think also, I pointed this out to my roommate. I said, the Acclaimed are a good tag team. Lee and Strickland are great wrestlers who are teaming. There's a huge difference. Like, they're good solo, but together they're better. It's the difference. The Acclaimed can't survive on their own, just like the Hardy Boys. Or more like, Jeff and his sobriety test. And they can't survive on their own.
Like, I think the Acclaim would be better if they get rid of their sports entertainment gimmick. I mean, because that type of crap belongs there.
Weren't they
not now, but
weren't they a full heel in the beginning? Like the whole thing from the very beginning, they were a villain?
Yeah.
I thought so. I don't know.
But, that type of gimmick belongs in that other federation back before that other guy got fired. I mean, resigned. Yeah. Like, he would fall head over heels for something like that. I mean, we already remember Too Cool and Scotty Too Hottie. But, I mean, he would fall head over heels for that. If the Acclaim would ditch the gimmick, people would actually look at them more seriously as a tag team. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it's an inverted shit sandwich. No, I can't. I just can't.
So the thing about them is they started off is how it is. People love their gimmicks and things. The crowd, I mean,
No,
when they started off, they were just annoying and lame. And like, do we want to see these guys? But when they started with the whole scissor me daddy ass thing, that's when they called Flyer. That's when everyone started to imitate it, and he got shirts and shit. It's just
I get
weird,
it. Like, I get gimmicks that are, I get it. I get like overused gimmicks. I get that. But even to that point, like, certain wrestlers kind of outwane their gimmicks. So, like, perfect example, the New Day. Remember, for the longest time they did the pancake thing? That was the stupidest thing, and they never explained why they did it. And then the one thing that has consistently stayed with their character is the whole New Day Rocks thing. And that's a decent gimmick. When you hear the clap, 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 you know who it is. And like, okay, do something like that. But then for their gimmick just to do the whole scissor me thing, it doesn't even make sense unless you've seen them wrestle. So it's like, it's not a gimmick that can withstand whatever they're doing currently, if that makes any sense. I know I'm kind of confusing things, but it doesn't seem like a gimmick that will last long, is my point I'm making.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I thought about this match, it was a good match on its own. If we ignore all the gimmicks and all the, vulgarness that come from certain gimmicks. I think that Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland actually did a really good job in this match. I think they actually show a little bit more, their actual fighting capacities. And it was a good match in that aspect. But other than that, I still don't see this as a pay-per-view worthy type match. And we all said about the Acclaim. I don't know. So it's one thing to have a gimmick, even if they wanted to do the gimmick route. But the other thing is that it's just way too trashy and it's too vulgar, and I don't want to see that. I don't want to see little kids trying to imitate the scissoring gimmick. Like, come on now, guys. It's just like, where do we drop the line with all of this? Like, come on.
So, anyways, for this one, all of us went for Swerve and, Swerve in our glory. So we all get a point. So there we go. Things are getting more evened out and everything. And now let's see here for the next match. is Tony Storm. Oh, actually, no. It was a four-way match for the interim AEW Women's World title because Thunder Rosa is injured until whenever she comes back. So, and I'm thinking originally it was supposed to be just Tony Storm versus Thunder Rosa had she not been injured. But anyways, four-way match. It was Britt Baker, DMD, Jamie Hayter, Hikaru Shida, and Tony Storm. And decent match there. Usually their alliances, a lot of it felt like, Tony and Hikaru were teaming up against Britt and Rebel and everything. Well, I mean, Britt and Jamie. Rebel was there. I don't remember her. But it was a weird spot where I think Tony and Jamie got into their spaces, and for whatever the fuck reason, Rebel just got in there and was like trying to break it up, and they just threw her ass out. Like, that was weird shit. And as we expected, there was a part where Jamie was like out, and Britt actually went to try to pin her before they all shoved her off and everything. And in the end, Toni Storm won. She's a new interim AEW World Champion until whenever Thunder Rosa comes back. So it was a pretty decent match. It was way better than the other one, though, obviously, than the Jade one. Everyone got their spots in. I was really expecting the old double cross. I would have still been a bit more impressed if Jamie won because to see her angle and everything. But, it kind of sort of looked like Tony was going to win when you think about it, I guess. But there you go. Any thoughts there?
It was an okay match. That whole thing with Rebel was a little weird when they started arguing and they were just kind of like, yeah, it was just, that was a little oddball, but it was still kind of funny.
Like, what? Us fight each other in a wrestling match? What?
What? No.
Why I never.
Like, that had a little bit of humor to it. But overall, it was a fairly decent match. The spots were actually good in this one as opposed to the 4-minute botch fest. But, this was actually fairly decent. Gotta give it credit. So, big ups. Woo.
I like this because one, when there's fatal 4-way matches, it can go either one way or another. It could either go terribly or competently. This match was really good for a fatal 4-way, considering when you do a fatal 4-way, like same thing with a battle royal, you have to do two things. People don't realize this. If you guys have watched enough wrestling, you'll get what I mean. When you do a proper fatal 4-way or battle royal kind of match, there's two goals in mind. One, you have to establish a winner and a loser. And the other reason is you also can use it to push long-term storyline later. So here they did that. I think they did plant the seeds of Hayter and Britt Baker because they've already been hinting at it, but now they have like a cause to split, to like, Hayter becoming maybe a babyface or like, turning on Britt or, something like that. And like I said, Toni Storm is the right call, the absolute right call to be the new champion. She's the only person who has, in history now, the only person who has ever been the NXT UK Women's Champion, the Stardom Red Belt World Champion, and the AEW Women's Champion. So now she has those three to her resume forever. So, there's that. But the other thing is, I'm not, from what one little side note, I did read, it was like right after the show, like a couple of nights after All Out, or the day before All Out. They basically had said that they weren't sure, unlike with the whole, AEW World Interim title, like they did with Moxley and Punk, they had a definitive idea of how long Punk would be out. They have no idea how long Thunder's going to be out. So what they're doing is they're calling it the AEW Interim Women's Champion for now, but they don't know exactly the severity of her injuries because, they don't know if she requires surgery, because all that's known is she had a severe injury in her lumbar. And if you know anything about spinal fractures, that is the lower part of your spine. That is bad. That's really bad. If you get a back injury, you never fully recover from it. I know that from experience. But so right now, technically, yes, she's the interim, but that could be changed later to the AEW Women's Champion. Like I said, it does establish that, Toni Storm has, she has enough presence, she has enough in-ring skills, she has enough mic work to elevate the women's division. I'm so happy she joined AEW. I'm so happy she's finally the champion. I'm really curious, and I'm hoping they use this opportunity to elevate Jamie Hayter, who's also a former Stardom alumni. And someone even pointed this out in this forum I was on. It said, it's kind of crazy if you think about it. They said the same weekend All Out happened was the same weekend they did Worlds Collide in NXT, which I don't really follow. But they had in Worlds Collide, they had Mako Satomura, who was the NXT UK champion. They had Blair Davenport, a.k.a. Bea Priestley. They had in this match, they had Hikaru Shida, Toni Storm, and Jamie Hayter, and all 5 of them are Stardom alumni. And to me, I'm like, that's really cool to see former Stardom wrestlers get elevated, to like the mainstream Western audience. That makes me so happy as a fan of Stardom. And Stardom is kind of getting bigger and bigger and bigger now. So it did make me happy to see a representation of women's wrestling. It did make me happy to see Toni Storm finally on top. And I'm really curious what they're going to do with her now. She needs to have now that this is over, she needs to have a good heel rivalry with someone. Like, she has to have a good rivalry with someone who's a good heel. I don't think she should have a feud with DMD right away, though. I think they should make it someone else. Have it Nyla Rose, actually. I think if she fought Nyla Rose, it would be a good, elevation for Nyla and for Toni, because they could show like, hey, Nyla's a dominant force, but Toni could still take her. You know what I mean? Like, that would be cool. And it would give Nyla more TV time, which...
Yeah, I was about to say, if anything, it would show that Nyla's still there.
Yeah, so. Everyone's like, you still work here? Every time like a wrestler comes out of dark and I haven't seen them in forever, I think of that joke from The Grinch, from Jim Carrey's The Grinch, like, are you two still living? Like, that's what I hear in my head. Because I'm like, that's what I think when I see these wrestlers. It's all like, and Peter Avalon with his girl. I'm like, you're still here?
See, so maybe I was doing the wrong thing as far as like the artwork goes. Instead of doing the Street Fighter versus AEW series, I should have put the AEW Have You Seen Me series where I just make different milk cartons with different AEW wrestlers on it.
Make that a thing. You should totally make that like you should do that for Halloween. You should do that for Halloween, like missing children, missing posters. It's like, if you've seen me, contact AEW Talent Relations.
Just like near a manhole, just put like a little missing poster of Danhausen somewhere.
Yeah, like,
he's missing Hausen.
There you go.
So, when I thought of this match, I think it was awesome to see Hikaru Shida again. Because I think it's been a while since she last fought in an actual match, and it was good to see her. There was a lot of, a lot of emotional things going on with the match because, she got beat up to the point where they quote unquote, like the medics took her out of the ring and all that shit. She's so injured, blah, blah, blah. But then she still came back with, I think, with the katana sticks or whatever.
The kendo sticks.
Yeah. And I forgot most of the match, but the only thing I remember is that I was actually a bit surprised because knowing the history, how predictable, the DMD is, there's moments that I was expecting that, oh shit, she's going to win the match. It'll be predictable. Britt Baker's going to win the match, So it was kind of cool that Toni Storm actually won the match. So that was kind of interesting. It was actually one of the, I don't know, it's actually one of the, I wouldn't say like the most badass fight ever, but it was still a good match for this pay-per-view.
Yeah. So for this one, Jack is the winner. Jack was the only one that went for Toni Storm. And let me just check real quick for the record here. Johnny went for Hikaru Shida. Panda also went for Hikaru Shida, and I went for Jamie Hayter because I really wanted her to win to see how the story would evolve from there, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, Jack for the win. So right now is one of the biggest disappointments of the night because we were really looking forward to the match. It was a big match of Jungle Boy Jack Perry going up against Christian Cage after the betrayal and all the stuff and the epic promo that like you're not gonna see Jungle Boy this week. You're gonna go against Jack Perry and all that and how badass it is. And so Jungle Boy comes out and Luchasaurus just betrays him and beats the absolute shit out of him. And by the time he gets into the ring, Christian Cage does, I forgot, I think, isn't it called like Code Zero or something, his finisher? Someone can correct me on there?
It's called the kill switch, isn't it?
Oh, okay, the kill switch. Yeah, I don't know where I got Code Zero from. But yeah, did the kill switch. The end. 1, 2, 3. Christian Cage wins. That's it. The whole thing was like 20 seconds, and I'm sure 10 of those seconds was like the intros. And yeah, behind the scenes, we found out that Christian Cage was actually injured, so they had to rush it up. But still, just okay, you know. So I'll leave you guys to it.
I thought I had read it wrong, and I thought I had read it wrong.
Oh God, William's fuming.
Oh geez, Will.
Very fuming.
Where do I get started on this damn match?
I'll let you
First
take over.
off, Christian knew for a while he'd been injured. They could have postponed this. They could have waited for a while for this one. We hadn't seen Jungle Boy for a minute. Hell, he could have been on the milk carton series for all we know. I mean, he did take a major ass whipping from Luchasaurus last time we saw him. But now here comes Christian Cage walking out in a green gear with his Megazord, Luchasaurus. And, like, all he did was do a kill switch. Luchasaurus beat snot out of him, and that was it. You mean we waited all this time, put up all this drama and all this suspense just for you to go, oh, well, I'm injured. I can't do much. I'm out.
Deuces.
I am fuming, as you could tell, obviously.
Yeah, I was. Remember earlier I had said about the Will Hobbs Stark match. It was the same thing. I'm like, you put more time and investment into that match than this match. This is the match people wanted. People were like, this is a pay-per-view match. And I'm like, I didn't know he was injured prior. I thought I had read that he got injured during. I'm like, doing what? What, did he sneeze hard? What happened?
He tore his quads getting into the ring.
He's like, oh, like that's what I thought like had happened. I'm like, wait, how? How did he get injured? He's like, oh, I gently touched him and oh, my arm is fractured. I'm like, no, that's what I thought had happened. I'm like, no, what happened? But no, to find out that was why they. Also, here's what, okay, Christian's a shitheel villain. He's a good villain. And shitheel as in a good way. He's a shitheel villain. So wouldn't it have made more sense if he was injured to have come out in a sling and gone, like, you knew I was injured. That's why you wanted this match. And no. I'm going to choose this person to fight me. And then have Jack fight someone else. And then, like, he could just keep throwing people while he's recovering. And just do it that way. It would have sucked, but it would have been a match.
Hell, even if it would have just been a battle between old friends where he was just like, well, since I'm injured, I'm going to get Luchasaurus against you and run a full fucking match.
Yeah, and then
Something.
Luchasaurus would have been like, and then like, he's like, and then he goes after, just kind of create this tension between, that would have been a better story than what we got. What we got was hot garbage. It was like a hot garbage dumpster fire, which seems to be the reoccurring theme with this show.
Dumpster fires, okay?
This show has been a dumpster fire so far. There's been like, there's been a couple. I'll get to the thoughts at the end of the show, but like that, yeah. This show is like simultaneously probably this match is simultaneously the worst of this show, and yet a perfect metaphor for this show at the same time.
The funny part is some of these matches, like you said, microwave matches, you go, you come back, it's already over. But this one is you go and come back and you're like halfway through the following match. You're like, the fuck, they skipped the match? I could have sworn.
I sneezed. What happened?
Like, oh man. Jock, thoughts
this,
on rated
this
R,
is
Johnny?
this was actually one of the worst matches I've ever seen. I think in AEW pay-per-view history. I don't think there's, well, except for the barbed wire match, but hey, even that match lasted longer. But this one was like a 20-second match, and basically Luchasaurus beat the shit out of Jungle Boy, and oh my goodness, he's so beat up. And then Christian Cage just pinned him and he won or some shit like that. It's like, what is this shit? This is not pay-per-view material. Imagine, I mean, and they hyped this up so much. Come on, guys. So it's also like that. We want to see Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, you know, we want to see more of that side of him. It's like he's becoming a better wrestler and all this stuff. And then, oh, he got beat up like a piece of shit. Like, come on now. Like, well, what is this crap? Like even with Christian Cage, you know, in real life injury, they could have still came up with something better, or they could have still had the match. And maybe, you know, they'll try to be careful to not do the moves in a way that he'll get too injured or whatever. Like, I do something like that, but don't. I don't know. It's just bad. I mean, basically, Luchasaurus goes there, beat the shit out of Jungle Boy, and Christian Cage is just standing in the ring, just watching the whole event happen. Like, that's just, oh my goodness. And it's you know, and we're talking about good wrestlers here. We're talking about high caliber wrestlers. So this was like a regular, you know, no-name wrestler. Of course, who cares if it's a jobber match? But this is a big name wrestler. We're talking about Jungle Boy here. And this is the treatment he gets in the AEW? Like, come on now. I don't even know, you know, of all the scandals that's, you know, happening right now, the AEW, I'm surprised that I haven't heard anything about, like, I don't know if there's anything about, like, what does Jungle Boy think about this match? Like, is he pissed off or what's going on? Because this is very, this is pretty messed up.
Yeah, this is the match where Johnny was texting me, this is bullshit. Like minutes after, like while we're watching the next thing, like, I know, Johnny, I heard he was injured. Okay, he's injured. Still bullshit.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like I said, Christian's a shit heel wrestler. Have him come out and say, or here's a better idea. Have Jungle Boy come out. You hear Christian's music. And then you just keep seeing that worked everyone. And then you see it one more time. And then they do a count, and then Jungle Boy wins by count out. And then everyone's just confused and don't say anything. That would have been intriguing. People have been like, okay, what's going on? We want to know what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, that would have been interesting. Then you could have got all the people behind the scenes in like the newsrooms going, well what's going on? It's like, well, we'll keep you informed. We're just not sure. Like, intrigue, like people go, what's going on? That would tune people into what is happening. Like, I would be more invested in that.
Or actually, better yet, they increase that plot, make a darker version of the Jungle Boy. So you get a 10-second count out, and like Jungle Boy wins. He's just chilling in the corner. But then when the cameras go to the back, they find in the back dressing room that Christian's been knocked out with a chair. Who did it?
Yeah,
Jungle Boy.
Hell, have some blood there. You know, even if it's fake, but have some blood on the floor.
Yeah. And then you could be like, I don't do a who shot Mr. Burns, who hit Christian? And then you could have Rikishi go out and go, I did it for The Rock. I did it for The Rock.
Okay, so this one here, Jack wins again. He was the only one going for Christian Cage, although I assume he didn't predict how it went down.
No, I did not expect that. I honestly thought what was most likely going to happen was he was going to kick him in the balls and do a kill switch. That's why I'm like, oh, he was probably going to cheat that way or some shit. Didn't expect that, no.